Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Class Act at Kauai Community College, the show that highlights campus happenings and goes deeper with its professors and students so you can hear why this is where you want to be. It's that time. Let's get it on.
Well, it's another beautiful day here at Kauai Community College. I can tell you the sun is shining outside. Been a pretty warm day, another great day for another incredible episode. And today, I have the incredible pleasure of sitting down with Emily Broderick. She is the Biology and Marine Sciences professor here at Kauai Community College. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I'm going to probably refer to you as Professor Broderick. I don't know what you prefer. Do you have a preference? Is it always Professor?
I like to be called Professor. A lot of the students love to call me Miss or Ms. Broderick. I've been called Ms. B. That's a popular one. But, you can call me Emily. That's fine.
Cool. I think it's funny. Local culture, there's so much within auntie and uncle. And, especially when I was in high school now, I graduated in 2004. But it's funny because at that time, it surely was Miss or Mrs. or Mr. That was all it was. And it's fun because now since I've started back in college here at Kauai Community College in 2018, it is so odd if I don't refer to somebody as professor.
Oh, okay.
It feels so interesting. So I just want to make sure I get that correct.
Yeah.
So you teach biology and marine sciences. Now, you're going to have to kind of walk me through this one because I'm not the greatest student. And that's great because you have a lot to tell me. And I want to talk about what specifically is all the things that you teach. What is marine science? Because that's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways we can go in that. But tell me what marine sciences kind of encompass. So to start.
Just to sort of start, marine science is using the power of our observation and knowledge in humans and how we explore our marine environment.
Interesting.
And really just at its most basic, check out what's going on under the water. And when we say marine, we specifically mean, saltwater, ocean water. So we're looking at the organisms, how they interact with each other and their environment in that watery world that we have a lot of opportunities to check out here right on Kauai.
Very cool.
So that's really what we do. And we like to use the scientific method to understand and ask questions about that and explore it and look at it. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, this might be a funny, odd question, and I will ask a ton of those, but let's talk about, does marine biology specifically correlate into what would be the air above?
I
in
think
a way.
Specifically definition-wise, no. I think the whole reason we have this subcategory of marine biology is you're specifying we're going to be looking at the science and study of life in a marine environment.
Nice.
Of course, everything is interconnected, right? From a chemical to cellular to, larger ecosystem level. So you couldn't have life in the ocean if it weren't for the air. So that's really important to remember that all environments do interconnect on our huge Earth.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that term we use specifically to talk about, hey, we're going to check out life in the ocean.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I want to talk about your specific classes. With what you teach, is it safe to say that you guys are going beyond the four walls of a classroom? Because I assume that marine biology, you kind of have to get away from the classroom, so to speak.
Yeah.
So tell me take me through a day or a great day within your class.
Yeah. So currently the biology majors, just natural science majors, you can be a biology major or you could be a marine science major, and you would still currently at KCC take the same course, and we do something called cross-listing. So you would come in and you would take my bio majors 171, which is like cellular molecular biology, and then you would continue on if you completed that course to biology 172. Now, if you're a marine science major, you would take that same series because obviously you have to understand any level of cellular organization to understand even life in the ocean. So we call it MAR, or Marine Science 171, and then you continue on to 172.
Interesting.
So right now, the way that we've dealt with that is you would be sitting with the same group of students that are non-marine science majors, because currently we don't know what's going on this island, but we don't have people signing up for just marine science. So this is one way we've solved the problem if we cross-listed it. My hope is that we can uncross-list it, and I can run just a marine science course because we've got plenty to do. Currently, a typical day in my environmental, organismal, and ecosystem 172 class, if you're a marine science major or you're a biology major, because marine biology and understanding it is one of my favorite passions, but we have so many other cool ecosystems on this island.
Right.
And like I said, it's all interconnected. So I kind of will look at, even if you're marine science, we're going to do a whole unit out in the intertidal zones, out snorkeling on the reef. But we're also going to take you hiking up into Kauai, and we're going to make you do that Pihea Trail out to the Alakai Swamp.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about how it's all interconnected. So it's kind of a win-win because the marine biology students get to look at how the land's related to the ocean, and then the terrestrial or more general biology students will find ways to integrate looking at the intertidal and marine environments and how they integrate into our terrestrial ecosystem. So typical day, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, we did our biodiversity survey in the tide pools down at Salt Pond. So my students meet on lab day out there during a scheduled lab time in the course they sign up for, and we go out and we survey the different number of species that occur in tide pools as well as how frequently they occur.
Wow.
So one way to look at biodiversity and to kind of assess it is to not just look at species richness, which is the number of different species in a given area, but also how frequent they are. Because you could have like 12 species, but there might be, one dominating the area, where the other 10, there's only like one or two. Where two of those species are dominating and taking over, and that's really going to set how those species interact with each other and their environment. So we kind of talk about that and break that up. And one of the big things is here in the Hawaiian Islands, especially in Kauai, we don't have a lot of information on our intertidal zones. So this is an opportunity for students not just to walk out and learn about biodiversity and see our cool, unique creatures in one of our great environments here on the islands, but also collect data that is needed. And we currently, I'm sort of working with DAR, the Division of Aquatic Resources, and we're talking about ways to integrate the classroom while providing data that can actually serve our county and our state. So, one of the cool things about the community college is we're filling needs and we're learning in the process. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
I got to say that my eyes have been clearly open to a lot just in this short little time.
You should come take my class.
I really think that I would love to give it a try, but I was going to ask about this. What level of prerequisites do students have to have? Because because when you talk about me specifically, if you talk to any one of my professors, they're going to say, he's a tough one. I'm one of those special cases that I've really never done really well in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And it's an incredible miracle that I'm here in college today. So I don't know how it would fare, but I do want to know how or what specific prerequisites or what should somebody be expected to have or at least be abreast to when they are thinking about coming into your program?
Those are really, two things come to mind. First of all, this is what community college is for. You can be a non-traditional student. You can come back after taking 20 years off, right?
There you go, that's me.
You can be an adult. You can be someone straight out of high school. You could still be in high school. We are here for the community, and you can try stuff out. You could have clear certificate goals or diploma goals and transfer on to a four-year college and continue academically your career in research science or in non-science, or you can just take a class because you're interested. So you're allowed to come in and take my biology or marine science classes and check it out, see if you like it, see if you don't, right? It is not this we're really here for the community at any stage of your learning, and depending what really your goals are, I'm here to help and I'm here to fill that out. And at the very least, hopefully you get to learn something about biology and the cool life that we have on this planet, and particularly on this island. But the second part of that is, if you're a natural science major or in any of the STEM major fields, which is science, engineering, technology, and math fields, which is really our intensive science cohorts, in that case, if you're in my 171 and 172, which are the 2-part series I just talked about being cross-listed together, you do have to have a co-rec. You don't need any prereqs. So if you signed up for that class, we would also require that you were currently taking a chemistry class.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So those, either way, even if it's not really something you don't really like being in the classroom, you don't like hard science, that's okay. You can give it a try, right? Again, that's why we're here, and you can, and check that out without feeling like the weight of the world's on your shoulder. Hopefully you come in prepared, you do well, and then you can decide if you want to continue on or not. One of my favorite things to do is really convert people or get them excited. They come in sort of going, oh, I haven't taken biology, I can't believe I'm doing this, or science, and saying, hey, you can do this, right? So this is a place for you to practice and learn skills, and not everybody's good at everything. And I tell you what, my journey has not been a typical one either into the sciences. So I feel you. And part of the reason I came back to teach at the community college level is because I was a very non-traditional student. So,
nice.
But it was always my passion for understanding life and how it worked in the biological sciences as a biologist. But I really came to it in sort of a back way. So that's what got me into science and learning is biology and marine biology. But what keeps me in it is the passion and, the continual learning and the passion of my students and watching those lights go on as we learn new things and ask new questions about the world around us. So I think there's a lot to address different, levels and opportunities. It's like, that's why we're here, right? The science of life, biology, if it's in the marine environment, there's always something to learn.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It's always impressing us. And, things are constantly evolving. It's not an end game. We didn't get there and stop. It's still going. So it's like, it's pretty cool to look at the ways that manifests. And that's what keeps me in it for sure.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something else, and not to put you on the spot, so don't feel odd if this question kind of gets you a little bit. But I do want to know, as a person, myself with a disability, and your class is being so hands-on and so not necessarily unorthodox, but in going beyond the 4 walls of the classroom. If someone has any limitation, so to speak, are we able to work with that to some degree? I mean, obviously, because it is marine biology, you have to be able to get in the element, so to speak. But have you... is there ways that you work around different challenges that people may have and so on and so forth?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think it is really pertinent when we're dealing with a broader community, right?
Definitely.
And absolutely. So when I design my labs, it's really up to the student to say, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Let me know. And I always let anybody opt out. I am not going to make you go hike to the Alakaya. I'm not going to tie you up and rope you and what do they do here? I went to the rodeo in Waimea. I'm not going to mug you and tie you like a calf and throw you in the water. Okay. When you said take your class, I thought, all right, I got the humpback whale thing down in the ocean. That I can kind of do. But if you're going to try and get my big butt up to Alaka'i Swamp. Not to say that I wouldn't be so inclined to try, but it might take a little bit more than a few days. That trail in particular is, I think it's rated one of the hardest, the PKO trail,
definitely.
Which is what I love about it. It's challenging, you get dirty, you get muddy, and you really walk into many different ecoclimes and climates.
I was just going to say, going into a place like, say, the Alaka'i Swamp or even all of the many trails that encompass Kauai itself, it must be pretty incredible, especially from a scientist level, to see all the different ecosystems that are within that.
And just the organisms. I mean, you should have seen the fungal diversity last time I was up in Kauai. Like the mushrooms, there's these bright yellow, orange, they almost look like Belgian waffles. They call them waffle mushrooms, growing and decomposing all of this, decomposing ohias that have fallen,
Really?
Just cool. So what we really cover all the major kingdoms and organisms, and so it's cool because part of the advantage of going out as in the study of life is you get to go see it in action and see the way that it manifests. So part of the reason I do really think it's important to do that hard trail is because we get an opportunity to see these unique organisms. I mean, we have rare species of ferns, forest birds, and then we look at how those nutrients move down into the reef, and we get to see some really cool local species of fish and corals that we have here. My class just last week Sunday, Captain Andy's sailing excursions gifted my bio majors and 172 and marine science majors in that class a trip. So they offered it to us. I got to take out the whole class, and we did a snorkel and whale watch. And we ended up, I don't know what was going on, but I have done years of snorkeling, swimming, scuba diving. And normally people have this vision of saying, oh, there's pots of dolphins. I'm going to go swim with the dolphins, right? Dolphins don't care about us.
Right.
They're totally not interested in us. Right. And if anything, they're a little bit like, let me get out of your way. Right. I don't know what these funny naked primates are doing, right?
Okay.
But we were in the water snorkeling over some really actually beautiful reef off of Kauai.
Okay.
Kind of actually off of Keikaha area, so underneath Kauai, that area of the island, great offshore reef over there. And all of a sudden we hear the whistles of the dolphins underwater, and a mother and calf moved in close to us in our snorkel group, and one of my students dove down and almost was like swimming with the mother and calf dolphin. So we do have these unique opportunities when we're out and about, and that hasn't happened in 25 years. And there's been times I've done 30 dives a day in research, studying coral reefs around in the Caribbean and stuff, where dolphins, you can hear them, but they ignore us. And these dolphins were curious. So that was kind of a fun, exciting thing. Plus, Captain Andy's gifted us the whole thing. So
incredible.
It's pretty cool that if you come here to this small community college, that you have these opportunities. Those trips are incredibly expensive that people pay for. So, I think part of the unique thing here is you could do something like that with your disability, right? But I did have students that just didn't feel comfortable getting in the water. Right. They weren't my marine biology majors. They were in the biology cohort. So I let them opt out, right? Yeah. But I did want them to do a species interaction lab where they look at the interaction types of two different species on the reef. So I said, you can choose. I gave them the lab. They can go make the points, and they chose to go back to the intertidal zone and sit there and watch because it's a very accessible zone, right? So there's always ways that we can work with any kind of disability, but that doesn't mean that you have to not experience the unique, cool life that we have and learn about it just because, you don't fit the normal mold of what you think you should be. And that is honestly one of the great things about community college is we have flexibility to accommodate that in ways that larger institutions don't.
Well, all I got to say is I love it. I love it. I love it. Professor Emily Broderick, Biology and Marine Science here at Kauai Community College. It's been a sincere pleasure to sit down with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you soon.
All right, take my class.
Yes. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you for listening to the Class Act at Kauai Community College. The views and opinions shared by the host and any guests are solely theirs and do not reflect the feelings or opinions of Kauai Community College as an institution. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast with our professor, check out the other episodes with different professors. Aloha.